Welcome to today's 5-minute Bible study in the book of 1 Corinthians. The last few days we've been looking at chapters 8 through 10, in which Paul deals with the question of food sacrificed to idols and whether or not we can eat it. There were a number of issues that revolved around this question. Paul told us it was a disputable matter and Christians were free to choose either to eat the steak or not to eat the steak. But also in the midst of that, he reminded us you must always flee from idolatry. Now, in the midst of this discussion about the meat offered to idols, he also talks a little bit about our freedom in Christ. We are free in Christ. But he says we're free so that we might give ourselves completely to the gospel. And at the end of chapter 9, he has a very interesting paragraph where he talks about though he is free in Christ, he has devoted his life in his freedom to doing whatever it takes to help people know Jesus, to help people come to salvation. Let's look at these words of Paul. They're so very important. It's chapter 9, verses 19 and following. Paul says, "Though I am free and I belong to no one, I have made myself a slave to everyone, so that I might win as many as possible. To the Jews, I became like a Jew to win the Jews. To those who were under the law, I became like one under the law, though I myself am not under the law, so as to win those who are under the law. To those who do not have the law, I became like one not having the law, though I am not free from God's law, but I am under Christ's law, so as to win those who do not have the law. To the weak, I became weak, in order to win the weak. I have become all things to all people, so that by all means I might save some. I do this all for the sake of the gospel, that I might share in its blessings." Notice Paul's commitment to the gospel. He said, I'm free. We are absolutely free in Christ. But I'm willing to give up my rights and sometimes things I could have in order that I might win people for Jesus. So, to the Jews, I become like a Jew, that I might win them for Christ. To those not under the law, that's the Gentiles, I became like them, like Gentiles, that I might win them for Christ. I just want to win people for Jesus. So though I am free in Christ, absolutely free in Jesus, because I'm saved by grace through faith, so I'm absolutely free in Jesus, but I'm willing to sacrifice my personal rights just to win people for Jesus. For my life is all about winning people for Christ. You know, that's a wonderful thing, Paul says, and I hope that's true of all of us, that we just want to give our lives to winning people for Jesus. Now in Christ we're free. He has freed us from sin. He has delivered us from bondage to sin. He has set us free. And since we are saved by grace through faith, we are absolutely free in Christ. And thus we are free to give ourselves entirely to his gospel. So sometimes I'm not nearly as concerned about my rights and what I have a right to. I'm just concerned about how I can live in such a way to win people for Jesus. I just want to help people know Christ. I want to help people come to salvation. I want to help people hear the gospel and believe it, that they might be set free and live in the fullness of life that the gospel of Jesus Christ brings. I want to be like Paul and do whatever I can to help win people for Jesus. I hope we all feel that way. And I hope by the grace of God, we will live in such a way that the primary goal of our life is to help win people to faith in Jesus, that they might know him and love him and follow him. There's no better way to live than to live for Jesus and to help other people know him as well. Now that is a life worth living. That is a life that is full to live for Jesus and to help other people come to know Jesus. Let's all live like that by his grace through faith. Hope you have a great day today, and I hope you'll join us tomorrow as we continue our 5-minute Bible study in the book of 1 Corinthians.